Welcome to our monthly BizSmart webinar series, where we educate our customers on how to empower their business. Last month, we focused on ERP systems and why every business needs to invest in a system for purposes of performance tracking or just to make things easier and business transaction easier. So today we are joined by a lovely lady who is going to be telling us about how to utilize online communication tools that will drive meaningful and strategic business growth. Now, with around 45% of the world population having an internet connection today, communication with customers has evolved dramatically. Communication technology has shifted from localized plug-in machines to portable smartphones and laptops. And I believe we all have a device of some sort, so we know how to access whatever it is, an online resource using our devices. And this has been made easy by technology. So how do we then tap into all this that is happening to increase our visibility as a business? So there is rise of the social marketplace that has encouraged more businesses and individual brands to use online communication tools such as social media and websites to build and maintain a sustained following online. Therefore, in today's connected world, awareness of online communication tools is important because the ability to evolve and adapt is imperative to maintaining a thriving business. So joining us today is a powerhouse of a woman that we all look up to, and she's going to take us through this amazing topic. She's going to break down and demystify some of these ways that we can utilize online resources. So her name is Rahab Gashango. She's a creative writer and blogger, and she is the founder and editor of the award-winning blog, potentash.com. I know we've all had and interacted with that blog. So this is the best person to come and speak to us today about this amazing topic. And Potentash won the Best Lifestyle Blog Award from Bake for 2 years in 2017 and in 2018, and was nominated in 2016 Entertainment and 2019 Lifestyle. She's been writing for more than 20 years and has been blogging for more than 10 years. I mean, how do you blog for 10 years? That is consistency. That is also a love and passion for what you do. So, I mean, this is amazing. And she has been published in 2 anthologies and has had her work published in the Daily Nation. She's also a trainer on blogging and social media. So I think after today, we will know how to blog. We'll know how to write. We'll also know how to journal, yeah? All right, and Rahab is a communications graduate from the Easter University, where she studied communications, that is print, electronic, advertising, and PR, all the way to master's level. And without further ado, Rahab, over to you. We're happy to have you. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much, Grace. I am happy to be here. I am looking forward to hanging out with you guys. Today, we will be talking about using social media for business. First of all, I want you to type in the chat whether you have a social media strategy or not. You know, sometimes people get on social media because everyone is on social media. So you're like, because everyone else is on social media, I'll be on social media, but I have no strategy. Sisi tuko hapo tu. We will figure things out as we go, because I want to understand where you're at in your journey. So we're going to be talking about some tips about how to use social media. We're going to be talking about the reasons why you should be on social media. Then we'll talk a bit about audiences or customers. So I will be interchanging audience and customers. So if I say audience or customer, just know it's, I'll be interchanging them. And then how you can create content on social media and some of the social media platforms that you can use. Why should you be on social media? This is a very good question. One of the reasons you should be on social media is to humanize and build your brand, because being on social media allows you to interact with people, for people to know who you are, for you to tell your story in your own words. So it allows you to interact with people and be able to tell your brand story in ways that other people cannot tell your story. So it humanizes your brand, as we've seen with brands like Safaricom or KCB or other brands. It makes the brand more approachable. So that is one of the reasons why you should be on social media. And also building your brand, because there's different ways you can build your brand, both online and offline. And you need to be able to use social media to take your business to the next level, for people to know about it, to generate leads for your business, because people are always on social media asking about things, looking for tips on different things, and also where to get different things. So when you're on social media, you're easily findable, and then people can get in touch with you. It's also a way to boost sales as well. We'll talk a bit about that. And then it's also a great customer service too. If somebody has a complaint, they can reach out to you, or even if they just want to ask questions, they have concerns, it's a good way to reach out to you, because sometimes, especially with the younger generations, no one has time to make long phone calls. So this is an opportunity for you to interact with your customers in a very informal way. And then it is also a chance to gather data on your customers. Because, for instance, if you're using Facebook or you're using Twitter or even WhatsApp, you can be able to get data on your customers, like what are your customers ordering, what are their concerns, so that you can be better able to tailor your products to your customers. As we have already talked about customer engagement, and it's also a way to drive traffic to your website or blog. We will talk about the difference between a website and a blog. And then it also provides additional value to your clients. In what way? In different ways. For instance, I have seen that the industries that are covered here, the type of people that are here are different. There's people in transport, there's salaried, there's people in real estate, there's people doing education, manufacturing. You can give your customers tips on how to, for instance, how to use your products, what to do if your product is not working. For instance, if I have a TV or a phone that's not working, you can be like, if your phone is not working, here are the tips on how to repair your gadget. Or, for instance, like how to utilize the product more. So you give additional value to your clients that sometimes if you are using the traditional way of marketing, you'd not be able to give that additional value. One of the things that we need to be very careful about before we start doing social media is do research, because sometimes we are so busy, we set up social media platforms without understanding who our audience is, what they are looking for, what are they interested in. And then because we have not done that, it means we end up failing, and we are like, social media doesn't work because I have tried it, but it's not worked. But maybe it's not because social media doesn't work. It's because you haven't taken time to understand who your audience is, what your audience are looking for, what are their pain points. Because this is what we are addressing with our social media. What are the pain points? What kind of information are our clients looking for, so that we can give them that kind of information, so that they can use that information, they can engage with us. So let me talk a little bit about your audience. Understanding who your audience is very important. Your audience is your current customers, your current or current and potential customers who you want to reach on social media. The reason why you need to know who they are is that it helps you create better content. For instance, if you're in manufacturing, what are the concerns that you're an oil manufacturer? What are the concerns that you're manufacturing cooking oil? What are the concerns that your customers have? Is it that the oil doesn't work well? Maybe your oil is supposed to be used for a certain thing and people don't know that. You see, like for instance, the way there's oils for cooking, and then there's oils for baking. So maybe it has not been clear, this is an oil for cooking and this is an oil for baking. So you're able to give people tips on what they need to know. And then if you give your customers value, they will keep coming back. If you meet a need that your customer has through your social media platforms, they will keep coming back because they'll be like, this person is responsive. And it will also increase orders for you, because if somebody is like, if I reach out to this person on WhatsApp, on Instagram, on DM, they are responding, they will be very quick to keep buying from you because you're answering them on time. There's nothing as irritating as you give you ask a question and then somebody is answering you after 5 days or after 3 days, and you're like, this is something urgent that I needed to find out now. So sometimes the people who win in getting sales are the people who are fast to answer. So one of the things you need to do is make sure that if you decide to be on social media, be fully present and make sure you reply to your customers in a timely fashion. And then if you do that, you'll get more traffic, you'll get more shares, and then they will also help you get the best content ideas. And if you understand your target audience, they will be willing to buy from you, which is a very important thing. We're in business, we're trying to sell something, a service or a product. If you understand your customer and you work to meet their need, they will be more likely to buy from you over and over again and also recommend their friends. So we're going to talk a bit about creating an audience persona. This word, it sounds a bit complicated, but it's not. An audience persona is basically a representation. It's a person who represents your ideal customer and who you would like to consume your content and buy from you. So these are some of the things you should be thinking about. It's what is the age of your ideal customer. And by the way, your ideal customer is not only one customer. It could be many, but you have a representation. You could have one person as your representation of your ideal customer, or you could have 5 people. So you can look at what is their age, where do they live, what's their occupation, educational level, location, income level, marital status, hobbies and interests, personality, whether they have children or not, and religion as well. And it's also important to know what social media platforms they are on, because that is very important, because it doesn't make sense that your ideal customer is on Instagram. Like young people, a lot of young people are on Instagram, and then you're creating content for Twitter, and then your client, the customer you're looking for is on Instagram. You need to know where that customer is, right? So we will, and let me give you an example of an audience persona. This is an example of somebody who could be your client, and we're gonna be writing our own customer persona. So like Stella is 30 years old, she's married, she lives in South B, she has 2 children aged 5 to 3, she drives an SUV, and she's a graduate, and she earns 120,000 bob a month. She likes movies, books. Basically, she likes going out and spending time with her family, fashion, travel, shopping. She goes to the gym twice a week. She loves sales and deals, and she likes to bargain. A lot of women like to bargain, but she is an extra bargainer. She loves to bargain. So she will always look for the deal. So if you're the type of person who does deals, this is your person, right? So she's always looking for ways to save money. But then she also likes to spend money a bit. So she also wants to spend money wisely. So she's looking for recommendations on all these things and how to become a better parent or spouse. You see, now when you have a clear picture of who your customer is and what they are looking for, right? you see, it's easier for you to sell to them because you can now meet their need. For example, Stella is looking for recommendations on deals. She's recommendations on going out, on fashion, on shopping. She likes deals. So if you're the type of person who can give her a deal, then you will work well together. So I want us to do a visualization exercise for 5 minutes, because I want us, as we go along, to be able to follow with our ideal customer. So I want us to take 5 minutes and just write down, I hope you have a pen and paper, write down who's your ideal client that you want to approach on social media. What characteristics do they have? How old are they? What's their income? Where do they live? Nairobi? Do they live in Nairobi, Mombasa? Where do they shop? Is the person single, married? Do they have children? And then you need to say, what needs would your product or service resolve for them? So that even as we go along, when we are going through this process, you sort of have that person in mind. It could be an older man in his 50s who, because I've seen there's a lot of people here in construction. It could be an older man in his 50s who's looking to build a house for him and his wife as they retire. Or it could be a young couple who have just gotten married and they're looking for to buy their first home together. And they're looking for things to feel in that house, and they're looking for somebody to give them the information they need. So who is your ideal client? Where can you find them? Are they on social media? Where are they on social media? Try and be as concrete as possible. This person who you want to sell to, this person who you want to buy your service, who you want to be coming to your shop or your online store. Who are they? What do they want? What are they looking for? Where are they on social media? Where can they be found? Because it'll help you as we go along to make it easier for you to do a strategy when you know who they are. Yeah. When we know who we are, when we know who our customer is, then it becomes easier to sell to them, to create content for them online. I'm reading the chart and I'm seeing anyone who is a business owner. Be more specific. Business owner doing what? How much money are they making? Because if you see, if there are small business owners, there are people who are making 20,000 a month, and there are people who are making 100 million a month. So who is your specific target audience? That business owner, how much are they making? Where do they go? Where do they hang out? Do they hang out in bars? Do they hang out in church? Do they hang out at home? What are they looking for when they come to your business? So that we can translate that when we do social media. A customer who has integrity and will not run off with our loans. So is it, when you're looking at that client, is it somebody who has been checked by CRB? How will you know that they have integrity? Any client who has proof of source of income and also collateral for the loan. What if they have proof of income and collateral for the loan, but they have defaulted before on loans? So that's why we need to be more specific. The more specific you are, the better. I think because of time, we will leave it there and we'll go on to the next thing, but you can keep typing in the chat. Basically, when we think about our audience, we need to think about we need to think about why we need to tell our story. right? This is content. And then who are you telling this story to? This is your audience. Where can you reach these people? There are different platforms where you can reach different people. There's different ways you can reach them. You can reach them through Facebook or a blog, or you can even do an email newsletter. So where can you reach them? Are these people, where are they online? Where specifically can you find the person you're looking for? Think about what works for you, because it's not possible to be on all platforms effectively. For instance, I am on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. I think TikTok is awesome, but I'm like, I don't have time to be on TikTok, because I feel like I would end up doing too many things and not being able to do them all really well. So you need to ask yourself, what is your team good at? There are different types of content that you can do. There's writing, there's images, there's audiovisual content, or even podcasts. And then we need to think about the 5W plus H. Where can these people be found? What kind of content would they like to watch or listen to or read about? What time are they on social media? Different things. What is their pain point? So you need to think about these things, so that even when you're creating a social media strategy, you have this in mind. You have your audience in mind and what they're looking for, what time they're on social media, what kind of information they're looking for, and how you can help them with your content. There are different social media tools for different things. There's mini blogs, which is like Facebook and Twitter. You can do photo sharing on Instagram and Pinterest. By the way, Pinterest is underrated. If you're one of those people who does a lot of content that is very visual, you should think about using Pinterest. If you're making a house, for instance, if you're constructing a house, you can do before and after. For instance, if you're doing hair, you can do a before and after. This is how this person's hair looked. This is how it looks after. You can do styles that you have actually styled somebody. Then there's a professional network, which is LinkedIn. There's traditional blogs like Blogger or WordPress. And then there's video sharing like YouTube, TikTok, or Instagram. And then there's email marketing. And there are free platforms that you can use. And there's also paid platforms that you can use. I hope you're keeping all of these things that we are discussing in mind as we go along, and keeping the target person that you're thinking about in your head. So when you're trying to grow your social media, there are three things you need to think about. There's content, which we have talked about a bit. What kind of content are you creating? Are you doing videos? Are you doing a podcast? Are you doing audiovisual content? Are you just writing words? And then community. You need to build community, because community is what will make your numbers go up. It's what will make your customers feel seen, and it will make them feel like they belong. They belong with you. And then there's conversation, which is also very important. A lot of people who get on social media without a strategy are just like, we are just going to be there. They don't take part in conversations, and even when people talk to them, they don't reply. So your social media platform is just there, but you're not doing anything with it. So you need to be creating conversations on social media, whether it's by yourself or even interacting with other people as well. You can be sharing content, not only just the content that you're creating, but other content that you think your customers would be interested in. So we need to keep these three things in mind. Then we need to engage. This is a very important thing. We need to engage the audience to make our content popular. The stuff that we're coming up with on social media, we need to be asking questions. We need to be engaging people. We need to create content that creates discussions and elicits comments. Content can be on how to use a product, frequently asked questions, explained in a simple or fun way, promotions, telling your brand story, testimonials as well. So there's different types of content that you can do to engage with your audience. So just keep that in mind. And you can use images, videos, infographics, audio, or text. One of the things we need to realize, even as we create content for this audience of ours or this persona, is that 20%, people only read 20% of text on an average web page. And the more images you have, the more people will be able to pay attention. So create things like infographics, fun pictures, fun videos that make people remember your brand and that people can also share elsewhere. And then also color increases attention span by 82%. So don't be afraid to use color. Don't just use black and white. Experiment with color, experiment with your brand colors when you're creating content so as to create eye-catching content. And then use pictures as well and videos to break up text when you're creating your content on Facebook, for instance. Use pictures, use videos. And by the way, one of the things I want to tell you is that don't be scared of using mobile photography to create content. It's actually one of the best ways, because if you wait to get complicated equipment, sometimes people are like, oh, I don't want to use my phone because my phone is it's not as good as a proper camera. But start where you are. And then you can also use infographics to make it easier to understand your content, especially if you're doing things like infographics, which might be statistics, which are a bit hard to understand. Break it down into infographics, because that's a fun way for people to get to understand things. And then use experts. For example, if you're in the energy industry, because I've seen there are a lot of people in energy, you can get somebody who's an expert at using different types of energy. You can get people who are in the back end and people who are in the front end. You can get, like, for instance, you can get a mama mboga or someone to tell you her experience of using electricity or like solar. But then you can also get an expert who says, breaks down how does this particular thing work? Because sometimes the things that we do are very complicated, but we need to be able to explain to people, what does this do? Like if you're in construction industry, why do you need to use this certain type of cement, or why do you need to, why are structures built in a certain way? So you can give a historical background to why things are the way they are. So you can get different experts to just explain to your audience in a simple way what your product does, or how it has worked for them. So experts don't have to be experts like a professional. It can be, for instance, I'm saying, like, you're in manufacturing and you're making cooking oil. A mama who makes chapos is an expert at making chapos, so she knows what she likes when she's cooking. So if you ask her to talk about her experience with cooking with your product, she's actually an expert. So don't think of experts as being professionals. It's people who have experience in using your brand or in the field. And then establish yourself as a fascinating subject matter expert. This is one of the things you can do, like, for example, on LinkedIn. If you're good at explaining things, do reflections or create thought leadership articles so that you can give your brand or your company or yourself a boost. So those are the things that's one of the things you need to think about. Barriers to creating content, right? We want to be on social media. We want to be like everyone else. We see other people are making strides on social media, but we're scared to start because we're perfectionists. We're like, we have to get things right. I need a camera in order to take professional pictures. I need to be able to have enough money to afford an expensive photographer or to use an influencer. Don't wait. Perfectionism is what makes people not start. So, like, let me give an example of my blog. I started my blog a long time ago when I used to use a mobile phone and it was a feature phone to actually do my content. Now I have moved past that. Of course, I'm using a laptop. I have writers as well who work for me. But if I thought in the first place that, oh, I can't blog because I'm using a feature phone, I would probably never have started. I would probably have been like, let me wait until I get a computer or something like that. Don't wait. Start where you are. When you begin creating content, it might not be the best content, but at least you will see progress. And then another thing, barrier to creating content is not doing your research. This means that you don't know who your audience is, you don't know what they like, you're not sure what time people are on social media, so you create content at the wrong time. And please note that somebody's audience, some people, no two people's audiences are the same. Someone in manufacturing, their audience may not be on social media at the same time as somebody who is cooking, right? So you need to know, there's no one audience fits all. You need to learn when is your audience online so that you can create content when they're there. And then not being an expert. This is something that you need to work on as you get better at it. You become an expert, but don't refuse to start doing social media because you're waiting for a certain specific perfection, that when we get to this level is when we will do social media. And then the other thing is procrastination. I'm going to start, but then you don't start. And the longer you take, the longer it becomes harder to start because you get frustrated because you're like, maybe I'm too behind, and then you don't end up starting. And then the other thing is not knowing how to use platforms. And then there's also time, creating time to create content, and then money, and then lack of planning, which we will be talking about a little bit about. Content ideas. There are different places where you can get content. One of the places is to ask yourself, what have you always wanted to create content about? Write down the ideas. This can form the basis of your first posts. And then also, it's good to look at what your competitors are doing on social media. What platforms are they on? What is missing from what they are doing on social media? You can improve on that or add a unique angle to it. And then what are people talking about? What do your customers need to know about your product or service? What questions are people asking that you feel you can give answers to? And this final one is controversial. What is trending, looking at what is trending on social media that you can plug into. This is one of those, it could work or it could backfire, because I feel sometimes that people try to get into trends that don't go with their business. So they end up having cringe moments. So before you even if you're looking at what is trending on social media, just ask yourself, this thing that's trending on social media, does it go with my brand? And how can we leverage that? And if we can't leverage, leave it alone. Don't go there. Don't be those people that you're jumping on trends and people are like, this person doesn't even know what's going on. This company that has lost it. Yeah. Key things to remember when creating content. Consistency in creating good content is the most important thing. Like if you say that we will be using our social media platforms 3 times a week, which if you're doing it 3 times a week times 4 is 12. Like if you said, for instance, we are going to do 3 updates every week, make sure you do 3 updates, because the consistency is what clients want. If you say that every month we will be doing a podcast, every month do the podcast, because when people start expecting things from you and then you don't deliver, they kind of get disappointed. So some of the things you need to think about is, depending on how busy your business is and whether you have somebody to do it, is how often will you be posting on social media. And then you can have a content calendar. A content calendar is, for example, in a month, we are going to post 10 times. We are a business that maybe does, let me see, we're a business that does maybe hair. So if we're going to do 10 posts a month, we are maybe going to do two on braiding hair, 2 on relaxing hair, how to keep your hair looking nice, different things like that. So just have a content calendar so that you know what you're supposed to be posting, and then there are tools that you can use to schedule content, like Hootsuite and Buffer. These platforms allow you, like even now I'm here, but because I have a blog, I have set content to publish during the day on Buffer. So I can be here or I can be doing something else, but my posts are appearing on social media because I have scheduled them. And then also think about having strategic partnerships with other businesses. Sometimes you want to do some social media work, but you feel like it's too much for you to do alone. For example, you're in construction and you think a podcast would be a great thing, but it is not. It is too much work to do as one business. You can come up with strategic partnership with other businesses, and you have a podcast that is run by 2 businesses, or you link up with other people and run a social media campaign together. You can also use bloggers and influencers to create content, to create awareness on your behalf. Or you hire somebody to do the content for you, just in case you don't have somebody internally to do it. Then engagement. One of the things I have talked about earlier, about that one of the mistakes that people make is they start social media platforms and the platform is just there. You're not sharing, you're not creating engagement. People are just like you're on social media, but you're not on social media. So make sure you're engaging people, you're talking to people, you're creating relationships with them, creating relationships with current and potential customers. So do stuff like ask questions about different things. It could be related to what you do, or even something that's not quite related, but things that can make people engage with you. And then use polls to find out different things. And then you create interesting visuals that people can react to. Like, I know you've probably seen, even on WhatsApp, a lot of, especially around holidays, you find brands have created content that's really interesting that people share to other platforms. It's been shared on Twitter, but people are sharing it elsewhere. So create interesting visuals that people can react to, or people can share. It can be sharing information or something funny that you need, that people can look at and also share, right? And respond to comments, very important. I think one of the frustration for me as someone online is when I ask a brand something and then they take forever to reply, or they don't reply at all. And then you're chasing somebody for days to get a comment, for them to reply to you. And then you can also do giveaways to create engagement. And then you can also work with influencers. And then you can also do paid advertisements that would reach your target audience. A very important thing is to create a community of people who interact with you daily, people who look forward to your posts, people who look forward to seeing the offers and the discounts that you have, people who look forward to reading your blog or watching your videos or interacting with you. Now, I have a question for you on the chat. Have you been creating content on social media? And have you used social media to connect to your customers? And what has worked for you? What challenges have you faced? What pain points do you think your content can address? Reply to that as we continue. So some of the platforms you can use is a blog. One of the ways to share is using a blog. A blog is a regularly updated website, which is written mostly in an informal or conversational style. And then how to use blogging. You can use blogging to keep current customers engaged, differentiate you from competitors, do thought leadership articles, nurture and convert customers. For example, you write 5 ways to make sure that the construction of your house is done properly, so that someone who's looking, someone who wants to construct a house in the future can come and see your content and be like, oh yeah, when I want to build a house, I will go to this person because they've already told me about the pitfalls. So use blogging to basically nurture and convert customers and differentiate you from your competitors. And then I will end with other social media platforms, because I'm seeing we are running out of time, so that we can ask questions. One of the things that you can do on other platforms is create engaging content that makes people think, content that makes people laugh, even content that makes people sad, but it makes them think. And then engage with your online community. I will emphasize this because I think a lot of people have social media platforms which no one is engaging with them. And then you can showcase interesting videos. You can do videos like, for instance, showing how your products work, just a day in the life of, you're showing how people relax on Friday, you're showcasing your events, like when you have a team building, you showcase how people have fun together, because some of these things are interesting, not just for customers, but for someone who may want to potentially work for you in the future. You can also live stream events. You're having an event, take time and live stream it, like this event, like this webinar is being live streamed, and then create winning profiles. Take time to go through your social media profiles and put the important information, like where can you be found, what do you guys do, what is your brand story, things like that. It's very important. Don't just have open platforms that are not being used. And then talk about offers and discounts. Use hashtags and location tags, and always check your DMs and reply to them. Take people behind the scenes and collaborate with other businesses as well. So I will end there. But yes, some of the things you can use is Instagram stories to go behind the scenes and tell people about your brand, show people interesting things. Instagram Live, Instagram Reels. Instagram Reels are a fun way to make your brand, to humanize your brand. Show people at your workplace doing different things, put it to music. You can also use influencers, but influencers are great, but you don't have to use influencers in order to pass your point across. And then there's WhatsApp, which you can use in different ways. Use it to initiate more conversation, to send images or videos as well. And then make sure you're using Twitter. There are a few things that are there. And then don't take lack of likes as a failure. When you start, you probably will not get as many likes or engagement as you feel you need to get. But the thing is to be consistent. Work every day. Every day, me, I say every day I'm getting better. So every day your business can get better at using social media. Yes, I will stop there and take questions.
So there's a few questions here. Ash is asking, what is the ideal number of images to use in a web page or blog?
There's no ideal number. It depends on what you're doing. For example, if you're let me give an example. Like if you're a retailer of shoes and you're writing about 5 different shoes that a customer can buy, you know, you need to have an image for each type of thing that you're selling. So you'll have a picture for boots, you'll have a picture for heels, and then you'll have a picture for something else. But then if you're selling a machine and it's one machine, you just need to put the picture of the machine. For instance, you're writing about 5 ways to use your coffee maker to get better results. You only need one picture. So there's no one rule for everything. It just depends on what you're doing.
Yeah, there's also Colin says that this is an insightful topic I'm keenly following. My question is, how can SMEs use data from social media channels to help them increase profitability?
Other SMEs or your particular SMEs?
I think it's all encompassing. Anyone really, whatever data that you find in your social media, how do you translate it?
One of the ways that you translate it into business is to find out, for instance, if you're running a business, let me give an example of, for example, Farmer's Choice, right? Farmer's Choice sells meat and things like that. If they find that they're from the data, like for instance, I buy my meat through WhatsApp. There's something called Qua Estate. They may be tracking and seeing how many people buy on WhatsApp and what the things that people are buying. And then they say, this particular thing has high, a lot of people are buying this thing and they're buying it at around this time of the month. So I can create an offer so that people buy more of this. So it helps you, because if you know, for instance, you're a shoe seller and then you see people are liking one type of shoe, like they like boots more, like people are commenting more on your page where you're talking about boots than they are on the page about heels, then it means you need to buy more boots. And you can be specific and see more people want thigh-high boots than people want short boots. So it helps you understand, because people are asking how much are these thigh-high boots, and they're not asking about. So it means I need to stock more of the thigh-high boots than the short boots. So it helps you be able to see what, when you're listening to the conversations of what people are talking about on social media, you use that to make better decisions. Because maybe you've been having you've not been having thigh-high boots, and you've been having a lot of those short boots, and your stock has not been going, and you don't understand why. But then when you see that, or it's because people are not interested in this, but they're interested in something else, I can increase the thigh-high boots. And then you can even say, because I need to clear this stock, let me have a sale so that I clear this stock, the short boots, so that I can be able to stock more thigh-high boots. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes so much sense. Or maybe I can take the last one, which is, how can businesses deal with the threat in social media of losing control of the conversation or brands?
One of the things that we need to do as business people is have a plan for what happens when things go wrong. You need to have it's sort of like a crisis communications plan. If things go wrong, what are the things we do? So is it if somebody raises a conversation, do we respond immediately? Is there a person who this issue is escalated to? We keep quiet first, we get all the facts, or is there a standard statement that we issue immediately so that people can at least be having, not saying that the brand has kept quiet while we are sorting things in the back end. So you have to have a social media crisis management plan where you're like, this is what, if our product is not working, this is what we need to do. That's the long and short of it. Yeah. And have somebody who's in charge of that, so that when somebody says, oh my gosh, this product is bad, this is what it has done, you know that for this particular product, this is the person who's dealing with it, so that person gets on it as soon as possible. They're not waiting for the fire to keep burning. Yes.
Wow, thank you very much. I think I have learned so much, and especially when you said that we need to use social media and our online presence to humanize our brands. That is really, really great to know, because personally, I will not buy anything before going to the social media sites and seeing what people have to say about it. If I don't get that, then I have to go to the physical shop, or I'm not buying. And what you just said makes so much sense. So if we invest in our businesses, then definitely we're likely to see a turnaround. So thank you very much, Rehab. Thank you for making time. Thank you for such a lovely presentation. I could feel the passion as you were speaking. I mean, it's lovely to see. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. Unfortunately, there's so much to cover. So I'm hoping that maybe one day we could have another chat and maybe cover all the other things that we didn't manage to cover today. But I am honored that you invited me, and my contacts are on the presentation. So I will share the presentation, which you will get. So if you have any questions, you can get in touch.
So without further ado, this is Springboard Capital Limited. We are a microfinance institution that speaks to your financial need. Are you looking for working capital? Are you looking to purchase an asset? Are you looking to clear your duty? Are you looking to expand your business? We are your go-to people. And we are in Nairobi, we are in Thika, and recently we are in Kisii. So we are so delighted to have you joining us today. And should you want to get any information about Springboard Capital, log into our website, that is Springboard Capital Limited. Should you want to follow through some of the interesting webinars that we've had in the past, you can go to our YouTube channel or go to Facebook at Springboard Capital, and we can learn and grow together. So thank you very much for making time for us this afternoon. Thank you for being our amazing, amazing audience all the time. We look forward to hanging out again next month rather. And until then, have a lovely, lovely afternoon, and cheers.